My name is Gil Huff, and welcome to UAP Technology. So, exciting times. The UAP report that I have been wanting to go over and kind of use as sections of framework to go over various things that are being recorded is out. And no, it's not going to work that way. The title was rescheduled as a preliminary report. It's only 9 pages long, and even that is a lot of pages of definitions and the original request. So it's really only, I would call it executive summary. But exciting pieces in there. And the title of this video that I've come up with is 10 ways that the UAP report says it's aliens. Clickbait, but no, really, I was actually going through the report, said it's not that long. I found 10 statements that to me really implies, reading between the lines, that says it's aliens. Now, I can see a lot of people going, wow, just coincidence, you're reading it that way. Well, I have been part of some government proposals and reports and processes, and oh my God, the level of detail, phrases, sentences, every single word is reviewed for possible implications and meanings. And this is stuff that really is not that critical. I know the process, the reviews, the red teams and blue teams that probably reviewed this and looked at every word. And yet, in this short, unclassified public report, there are 10 statements that doesn't take a lot to read between that says, what we're seeing is aliens, advanced technology beyond ours on Earth. I think that's pretty remarkable. So, yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to report on. And I want to make that case for you, whether you've read the report or not, because you kind of have to shuffle through it a little bit. But I think the story is there to be told. I think it's really interesting that, this is the intelligence agency of the United States. A bunch of paranoid people. This is the director of, here I got the report right here. There it is, people. You can download it. It takes nothing but a Google search. Pretty simple. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence. The preliminary assessment of UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, what most people call UFOs. So let's say it's, definitions and things, but, the actual content is a handful of pages. So we're not going to be able to break down the report on the level that I thought of we could do. That's probably available. It might leak because I think a 75-page more in-depth classified version went to Congress, or to the Senate Intelligence Committee at least. And I understand a follow-up report is actually going to be coming out in September. So that's interesting. That was new information to me. And it's had impact, I'll say already. The from Department of Defense put out a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, basically making it policy that UAPs, UFOs have to be reported on, and has to be reported on within 2 weeks. It gave them a deadline. So that's pretty interesting. I do think the report, there's plenty of stuff that, it still could be, China, Russia, or it could just be a bunch of unidentified weather balloons. They back up. To me, a lot of that, and it's actually addressed here. Special yellow section or pink section, UAP collection challenges, basically saying, if a pilot reports on this, they're no longer flying. They have really suffered. A lot of our military people that are having these challenges, if they report on what they're seeing, they are made fun of, they're losing their flight privileges, but there is a real attempt, interestingly, mainly with the Navy, but seems to be slowly making its way to the Air Force as well, to unbias this information. If you see something, you're locking onto something, the radar is showing something, it needs to be reported. You can't just be seeing things and not reporting on them. And they have particular data they're now looking for. So that's very different. As far as we know, very different even historically. And as I say, it's now becoming, at least Department of Defense wide. The report also addresses, it needs to also go through civilian reporting things. The FAA in particular has a lot of data that help create a baseline. Anybody that's done any data analysis knows you need to have consistent data that's reported the same way. They're getting that from the Navy, who has consistent protocols for reporting that has now, as of last November, also being used by the Air Force. And that is preliminarily the only thing that the staff was able to use that did this report. That's one of the things that has become clear is apparently this was just two people who also had other responsibilities writing this report. Kind of amazing to me and kind of interesting that, Congress required this report and yet two people had to pull this together. And they basically had only one real data source for most of the time that they were looking at. That was the Navy, because, as mostly from the last 2 years, but because the Navy had been recording this information, they basically did an analysis of, most of the 144 UAPs that they did this preliminary report on were all using this particular data source. But that's still very interesting, especially as I say, so first time publicly you have UFOs being analyzed, and there's 10 statements in this report that I think says the government, or at least a group within the intelligence agency, thinks that we're being an advanced technological civilization is visiting the world. Not just the United States, this is being seen in every country around. In fact, that's the other thing that's interesting, is at least I think 80 of these were in the last 2 years. That's actually a lot more than I was thinking. We've had public talk about 3 Navy encounters. Well, there's been a lot more than that. And ongoing, and, heck, we're talking every, couple weeks. If sometimes I guess it goes and flows, but every couple days, or every day in some cases. So have these handful of people, limited, clearance, top secret clearance levels to see. They basically have a set of data from the Navy and some more recent stuff from the Air Force, who are analyzing this and making a preliminary report to Congress. And so as I say, I've been part of government reviews and writing. They look at every word, every possible meaning, and this is what they publicly included in this report, a public report. So, you ready? Top 10. It's exciting. So I'm going to read these. I do have them written down right out of the report, cut and pasted out. So I'm pretty much reading more or less every word. We currently lack data to indicate any UAPs are part of a foreign collection program or indicate a major technological advancement of a potential adversary. Wow. Okay. So off the bat, They analyzed every bit of information they had. It's not China. It's not Russia. It's no other country in this world or adversary that we think we might be facing that we know of. So that's big. It's one of the things people always say, oh, it's some advanced drones. No, we've looked at the data, and we spend a lot of money on satellites, and these ships are full of really, most of the data is being recorded because these are ships who are, looking at China and Russia and tracking very closely what they're doing. And no, this isn't coming from them. There's no data. They have not found any indication that this is a foreign country. So that's pretty interesting frame. That they have the best information that the intelligence department has. It's not a foreign country. Wow. Number 2, most of the UAP reported do represent physical objects, given that the majority of the UAPs were registered across multiple sensors, including radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. Now, we've had some previous recordings, Omaha, for instance, where we know that the UAPs were being seen on the radar and being tracked. We've gotten more advanced broadband radars now that cover a wider range of areas that are tracking these things. The F-18s were locking onto them with their infrared sensors for their weapon seekers. The pilots were seeing the physical object that they reported was a ship of some kind. So we went from basically having 3 reported Navy sightings to the majority of these 144 were all seen with multiple sensors, and they do represent physical objects. Wow. Okay. So the Navy, and in some cases the Air Force, are seeing real physical objects that they are tracking that are not, there's no data to suggest they are another foreign countries, human countries of ships. Whoa, that's too huge right there. I'm just starting off here. Okay, so number 3, in a limited number of these incidents, UAP reported appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. They weren't just being blown by the wind, they were going against the wind. They were not flying by any known technology, propellers or jets or anything. That's been reported in the other ones, but in a good number of these, they are exhibiting unusual, and they're a little vague on this number, a limited number. There are some clustering of UAP observations regarding shape, size, and in particular, propulsion. Again, oh my goodness, wow. They do mention, I didn't indicate in my top 10, that they are seeing consistently. So let's just go back down to this one. There is clustering of shape, size, and propulsion. Oh man, would I like to see more of this data. So there's been, conversations of the tic-tac shape, the saucer shapes. Excuse me. And the Navy are seeing consistent groupings of types of ships, sizes, shapes, and characteristics, and means of propulsion. Anybody that's aware of any of these know that the means of propulsion is means that they don't understand. They're flying with no obvious means. So, wow. But I'd love to see that data. how many saucers are we seeing? How many black triangles are we seeing? How many Tic Tacs are we seeing? But of these 144 UAPs that is in our present data set that they looked at, I'd love to see a breakdown on the different sizes and shapes. Because they mentioned in another part that there's probably not one explanation for what we're seeing, i.e., we are being visited by a number of different kinds or different peoples, alien peoples. Their characteristics change. There's more than one kind. I love to see some data on that. Tell them what the hard numbers are. If there's a senator listed on here, whisper some numbers to me. I know there's not, but 4. No, that was 4. Excuse me. Let's go to 5. A handful of UAP appear to demonstrate advanced technology. Oh! All right. So, let's just go over this. We know they're not ours. We know they're not foreign countries. They are physical objects. They have similar characteristics and sizes and shapes. And when under observation, a number of them showed advanced technology beyond what we are capable of. It's aliens. Or interdimensional, or it is not us. That is pretty remarkable statement. I mean, this is the Office of Intelligence here from the United States, a very paranoid conservative group, and yet they are making these public statements. I think it's remarkable. Number 6, in 18 incidents, thank you for giving me some hard numbers on this one and not just be the broad one, but described in 21 reports, observers reported unusual UAP movement patterns or flight characteristics. So that's narrowing down a little bit. There was some various advanced technologies being displayed, but in 18 of these cases, and again, this is mostly just the last 2 years, UAPs displayed flight characteristics that we can't explain. Wow. Just incredible. Number 7, UAP appeared to remain stationary in winds, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. So they're being more explicit now in that sense in some of the earlier ones that we were looking at. They are saying, again, no propellers, no jets, going against the wind. It's not balloons. There is no propulsion that we know of. These are physical objects, not from foreign countries, with advanced technology that is definitely have means of control and propulsion. Wow. I mean, this is powerful stuff. I don't know how people aren't freaking out about this report, really. Yeah, there's a lot of safer language in there, but they're making 10 powerful statements here. Please, I mean, I'd love to hear from people. This is what I want to have as a conversation here. So please tell me your thoughts on this, but I think it's remarkable. Number 8, in a small number of cases, military aircraft systems processed radio frequency, RF energy, associated with UAP sightings. Okay, I gotta admit, I'm not 100% sure what this means, other than clearly it isn't a natural weather phenomenon or something that's being, they are sensing RF energy associated with UAP sightings. I can do some. Clearly, that's extremely significant. And looking at this UAP phenomena, that we can learn something if we are getting particular energy signatures from them. That is something we need to understand better. Number 9, the UAP Task Force holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration of a degree of signature management. Now, signature management means that basically cloaking or they look really weird. The 5 characteristics you would say that, I would say they're covered by a warp field. They can't quite see, they're getting hard data, but at the same time, something's weird about that data that they can't explain. So that's, again, aliens. 10. And here, it's really kind of the kicker. If you think about it, they, just in another paragraph, but here we go. Number 10. We may require additional scientific knowledge to success. These things are beyond our technology, so we're going to need additional scientific knowledge to successfully collect, analyze, and characterize some of these UAPs. They are more advanced than we are. We would group such objects in the other category pending scientific advances to allow us to better understand them. Whoa. The Intelligence Department admitting that these are beyond us. We do not have the scientific understanding to understand the propulsion, the movement, the shape. I think it's pretty cool, actually. The U.S. government is outright saying this is beyond our technology. It's real, it's physical, it's not enough for other foreign countries. It's performing beyond us. It is going against the wind. It's not balloons. It's not natural. In fact, they have 4 different characteristics, and basically everything fits in other. It's not natural weather patterns. It's not airborne clutter. It's other aliens. I think these 10 sentences really narrow that down. So I think it's pretty amazing. Is that the big takeaway of the report was a plea for some money to bring in civilian FAA radar data, ideally in a way that they could, again, do analysis that would be consistent, so consistent long-term data to look at these, to better understand the characteristics. I'd love to see, again, how many of each kind are we seeing? They flagged the fact that they might, they're concerned about these being around military bases and ships, but they also recognize, that they may have a data bias. These ships have these advanced broadband, SPY-6 radars that are the greatest we've been able to create. They're constantly, these advanced electronic radars are consistently tracking these now that earlier, more simple radar equipment couldn't do. But that creates a potential bias in data. These ships are designed to set off from China and Russia and see what's happening all around them, so they can, tracking potential adversaries, as they say, therefore these, maybe this is happening equally everywhere, but it's just our military that has the technology and making the effort to understand these. So, are they more around military? Are they concerned about us as an aggressive species? I would be, but maybe that, though. Maybe they're simply being detected, because that's where we're having, we're focusing our technology that can track these things. So, wow. As I said, for the conversation I want to have, which is, what can we learn from what we're observing? Where do we have to focus our own resources on R&D development? I would love to see some of the detail behind this report. I can hope that some of the classified report it's been at public. I would think there'll at least be hints of that. I mean, let's face it, the amount of information and data coming out now is, used to be, years go by without a good, information on a UFO encounter. Now it's like weeks. Clearly, our technology is advancing to the point where we are able to detect these better, or maybe they want to be seen. So they clearly can travel in ways that we can't detect. They're, I would say, going in and out of, warp space, but, it could be that when they're actually sitting there out there monitoring, that they can be seen. Do they care if they're being seen? Obvious bias on what we think they should be thinking. But let's just keep having this discussion. I think it's fascinating. I think we're seeing things. Our government is now admitting things. Again, they're not foreign countries, ships. They are physical ships. They are traveling by means of propulsion that we don't understand. They have advanced technology. We don't have the technology to really track them, to see what's going on. I mean, the fact that the U.S. government, the official position, because I've heard before people say, the U.S. government admits there's something out there. And there's been individuals that have made statements kind of hinting at that. But this report is an honest to God, proper. This is a report to the Congress of the United States on UFOs, and it's saying these things. Wow. This is a 180 on previously where they've always poo-pooed it and refused to admit they either don't understand it or know more. I think the government could know more. I think they probably, but not the people doing the reporting, not the pilots that are seeing these things and reporting them. There is a data stream, at least most government agencies have silos. There are, different people report to different people. They don't know what's going on over here. So just because some group over here might know something, this still group, but we do have now, in it being largely driven by safety of our pilots and understanding what's happening in particular airspace that we're concerned about, that are tracking and collecting data on these things. So even if other parts of the government knows other pieces, we are for the first time looking at this and admitting it publicly, reporting it to our representatives. So I think we will continue to have more to talk about. If you have anything in particular that you'd like me to go into next, please let me know. Please comment on things that you saw in the report, your feelings of the report. Any follow-up that you'd like me to do. As I say, in September, there's supposed to be a follow-up report. I don't know if that's going to go into the more details or simply report on the last 6 months, numbers. They're saying these things all the time. So you'd almost have to have an annual report. I'd love to know how many times the Navy and the Air Force are encountering these things. It sounds like in some cases daily or at least every couple of weeks, they're encountering a physical ship that is more advanced than ours. So it's a new world, people. It's a new world. And I think a lot of people are going to have to start accepting maybe a different reality out there than we thought. So look forward to the conversation. Until the next episode. And have a great day. Thank you.